It's kind of cliche. I think the answer kind of never changes. That you have to, when you look at, I guess, video, and then when you dissect the game, I think you have to look at the things that you did well and then find those bullet points and kind of build on them. The first game, we gave them the neutral zone, and they had a field day with it. So when you look at the difference between the two, it's a major contrast. And we clogged the neutral zone up. It made it hard for them to get through. And I think one of the guys said it best. They're like, we got to understand we're not going to win track meets and things like that with offenses in this league. We're going to have to be low scoring 1-goal games. And, mentally those can get wearing when you're on the losing side of those things. But you just got to continue to go to work and continue to do those little things, build on those things. And then eventually you start to see kind of the fruit of the labor. The games get a little easier to play like that. And then you build and you hope it turns. And especially in a year like this, you have to do it relatively quickly, because there's just there's no runway to kind of get behind teams, I guess is the best way to say it. Excuse me.
And just, you guys have had 5 guys come back this week, but do you feel like, so 4 of them now have had 2 games. Zadina came back Friday, that as they regain their game legs, maybe you can go back to looking more like the team, that played against Carolina and Columbus. I remember Dylan saying after those games, you guys felt like you were playing hockey that could be repeated, good hockey, that you're getting back to full strength.
That that's going to be a big part of it. I can only speak personally. Both my line mates went down 1 game in, and those are the only 2 guys that I had skated with, and you get shuffled, and those things happen. And then they come back, and you're really, I'm playing with Fabs, and I've still only had 10 to 12 skates with them as a line mate, right? So you're kind of trying to figure those things out on the fly, and everybody's got to have to go through it in some fashion with COVID. That's just the way it's going to be. But as you get the guys healthy and you get them back into game speed and form, we can certainly build. And that's the thing. The good hockey, winning hockey is always repeatable. It's just about doing the little things and the little details over and over again. And that's why the teams like Boston have success every year every year. It just, they do all the things right for 60 minutes. And we do it in spurts, but we don't do it long enough. And that's, that's something that's got to be corrected for us to have any success going forward.
Last thing from me, what's on the Bobby Ryan book club for this trip? You're on the beach. What are you reading?
I am about halfway through Fahrenheit 451 right now,
okay,
which I think everybody's familiar with. So I have that. War and Peace didn't make it because I got it at the airport, but I will get into that on the next trip. I think I have Plato, and I think I have Robinson Crusoe next on the list. So grinding through them.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Next up, Ted Cole from Detroit News.
Hey, Bobby, you and your books, man. I don't know. Hey, just going back to football for a minute, just Brady, just as a fellow pro athlete, do you just tap your hat and just kind of like, wow, it's unbelievable what this guy's accomplishing and has accomplished?
I think you tip your cap through years 12 to 15, and when you're in 21, you're just going, what's happening?
Yeah.
At this point, you're just marveling at it. And I read an article yesterday about what the rest of his draft class was doing. Guys, going back to teaching and other businesses, and have been out of the league for 10, 12 years. And the fact that he just continues to not only do it, but to do it at this level is just, it's unthinkable. So I don't know. I can only speak for myself. But I feel lucky that I get to watch him play.
Hey, regarding this losing streak right here, when you guys are playing every other day, is it tougher to get out of the stretch like this because there's not a whole lot of quality practice time and whatnot?
100%. I think everything's just happening so quick. Any kind of funk, whether it's team wise, me personally having some trouble getting pucks on net right now, like those are things that you need reps to get out of. And a lot of times when you're practicing on a day like today, and we play at 3:00 tomorrow, you can't really go to work on the details as much as you'd like. A lot of it's just, you got to get moving. You got to get some shots on the goalies. You got to, you have a chance to do some kind of installs with neutral zone and things like that. But outside of that, you're really just trying to save it for the next night all the time. And, that is the downside of what we're at. But more so this year. I think you're seeing a lot more video. You're seeing a lot more things like that, and that's it's where you're at right now, just the way it is. So to answer your question, I guess yes, it does make it more difficult, but got to accept it as it is.
Perfect. Thanks for this, Bobby.
And we'll wrap up with Max Boltman from The Athletic.
Hey, Bobby, I saw a stat the other night about how frequently the road teams, I think this was maybe just in the West Division, but how frequently the team that loses game one in these series has come back to win game two. And I don't know if that's been the case across the whole league, but it seems like for you guys, a lot better showings in a lot of these game twos when you've gone down in the first one. I was just curious what you think accounts for that, because both teams obviously are able to adjust between games. Anything you could point to explain that?
Well, one, I think we've adjusted well. I think the coaches have put out game plans for games too that have helped us get back into it. So that's a big part of it. But outside, when you lose and you go home, and I, again, only speaking for myself, you're aggravated till about 1 o'clock in the morning before you can let it go and get back to work. But not very often do you get a chance in the home and home situation to go right back and kind of, I guess get redemption, whatever you want to call it. But you certainly are going to get that this year, and I think it adds a little fuel for the teams that lose that first game 100%.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be back with Coach Blashill shortly.